When The Nightmare Before Christmas hit theaters in 1993, audiences thought they were getting a cute holiday musical. Instead, they walked into a stop-motion fever dream that took 3 years to build, frame by agonizing frame. A skeleton king obsessed with the wrong holiday, puppets designed to break and be rebuilt hundreds of times, Tim Burton's handwritten codes hidden in background walls, the villain who was supposed to be someone else entirely. These are 16 hidden details you completely missed in The Nightmare Before Christmas. Number 1. Jack's first song reveals the entire movie. When Jack wanders through the graveyard singing about his emptiness, the camera drifts past tombstones carved with Christmas imagery, a Santa hat etched into stone, a candy cane silhouette, even a tiny sleigh carved into granite. The film tells you exactly where Jack's obsession will lead before he ever stumbles through the forest. Director Henry Selick worked with the art department to design gravestones that functioned as visual prophecy. Foreshadowing planted in a moment of melancholy. Jack hasn't discovered Christmas Town yet, but his subconscious already knows what he's searching for, but every symbol corresponds to an object Jack will later try to replicate, steal, or destroy. The gravestones aren't scenery, they're a roadmap carved in marble, waiting for Jack to follow the path his heart already chose. Number 2. The trees are a map of Jack's mental state. The holiday doors aren't random portals, they're emotional categories Jack refuses to confront. Thanksgiving represents gratitude he can't access. Valentine's Day symbolizes the romance Sally offers that he keeps ignoring. Easter hints at rebirth and transformation he isn't ready to accept. And Christmas glows brightest because it's the one emotion Jack desperately craves but doesn't possess: pure, uncomplicated joy. Production designer Dean Taylor coded each door with specific color temperatures and iconography meant to reflect suppressed feelings. Jack doesn't stumble into Christmas by accident. He wants escape, not introspection, which is why he chooses the most inaccessible emotion of all. The Forest of Doors becomes a psychological test Jack fails the moment he reaches for the glowing tree instead of looking inward. Number 3. Oogie Boogie was originally a human villain. Early script drafts revealed Oogie as Dr. Finkelstein in disguise, transforming the film's eccentric inventor into a twisted puppet master, orchestrating chaos from inside a burlap costume. The twist positioned Finkelstein as Halloween Town's secret antagonist, a mad scientist using Oogie as his violent alter ego. Test audiences and Disney executives called it too dark, too psychologically disturbing for a family film, but studio pressure won, and the Finkelstein connection was severed completely, leaving Oogie as a standalone villain with no origin story. Ken Page voiced the final version with pure menace. Traces of the original concept linger in Finkelstein's unsettling control over Sally and his obsessive need to create life. It's a ghost draft haunting the final film, visible only in what's conspicuously absent. Number 4. Sally's sewing has a secret pattern. When Sally stitches herself back together after escaping Finkelstein's tower, her seams follow the exact diagonal slant of the film's title font. The animators embedded the movie's typographic signature directly into her body, turning her patchwork skin into living branding. Lead animator Trey Thomas confirmed the decision was intentional, a way to make Sally visually synonymous with the film's aesthetic identity. Every stitch she adds mirrors the jagged, hand-drawn quality of Tim Burton's original concept art. The pattern appears consistently throughout the movie, her repairs always following that same angular geometry. It's environmental storytelling disguised as character design, Sally literally wearing the film's visual DNA. She isn't just a ragdoll, she's the physical embodiment of the film's artistic philosophy, sewn into existence one slanted thread at a time. Number 5. Jack's skull was inspired by Tim Burton's own drawings. Burton sketched the round-eyed skeleton compulsively in high school notebooks, across margins and abandoned scripts, refining the design until it became his unconscious signature. When development began on Nightmare, animators were instructed to keep Jack's features as close to Burton's original pen strokes as possible. No embellishments, no realistic skull anatomy, just the pure distilled shape Burton had drawn hundreds of times. The design never changed. Jack's face functions as Burton's artistic fingerprint, a visual confession of the imagery that lived in his head long before Hollywood gave him a platform. And that simplicity allowed animators to convey enormous emotional range through tiny manipulations of the eye sockets and jaw positioning, proving that restraint sometimes speaks louder than detail. Number 6. The town meeting song shows who distrusts Christmas. As Jack enthusiastically explains Christmas traditions, certain citizens visibly recoil while others lean in with disturbing fascination. The vampires flinch when he mentions shiny ornaments, covering their eyes as if the reflective surfaces might burn. The werewolf hisses softly when Jack describes wrapping paper, instinctively rejecting anything that conceals true nature. And the witches exchange nervous glances during his description of gift-giving, understanding immediately that generosity contradicts their entire worldview. Henry Selick choreographed these micro-reactions to reveal which monsters were psychologically incompatible with Christmas from the start. start. He interprets silence as agreement when it's actually suppressed horror. It's visual foreshadowing, showing that Halloween Town was never going to successfully adopt Christmas, no matter how hard Jack pushed. Number 7. Jack's sleigh flight mirrors a horror movie shot. When Jack ascends into the sky on skeletal reindeer, the camera angle and silhouette composition directly reference the iconic shadow pose from Nosferatu. His bony arms spread wide against the moon, fingers extended like claws. The image channels silent era vampire imagery into what's supposed to be a joyful Christmas scene. Cinematographer Pete Kozaczek confirmed the homage was deliberate, a way to inject horror film DNA into the movie's most whimsical moment. The juxtaposition creates unease even as the music swells triumphantly, a visual reminder that Jack's version of Christmas was always going to be monstrous. The shadow reveals the truth. It's a love letter to German expressionism hidden inside a musical number, proof that Nightmare never forgot its horror film roots even during its brightest moments. Number 8. Jack's chalkboard equation isn't random. During the town meeting, Jack scribbles mathematical formulas across a chalkboard trying to decode the logic of Christmas. One of those equations is the actual mathematical expression for false equivalence, the logical fallacy of treating two fundamentally incompatible things as if they're interchangeable. Screenwriter Caroline Thompson worked with a university mathematician to craft an equation that symbolically represented Jack's central mistake. He's trying to solve Christmas like a puzzle, applying Halloween Town logic to a tradition built on completely different emotional architecture. The formula proves mathematically what the audience feels narratively. Jack's entire approach is structurally flawed from the beginning, but the inclusion of a real logical fallacy transforms the scene into meta-commentary, the movie literally writing out the proof of its protagonist's doomed methodology. Jack isn't just wrong, he's mathematically provably pursuing an impossible equivalence. Number 9. Zero's nose is a ghost of a Christmas icon. Zero's glowing nose isn't shaped like Rudolph's round red bulb, it's carved like a tiny jack-o'-lantern, complete with triangular eyes and a jagged grin, a Halloween version of the most famous Christmas reindeer hidden in plain sight. Character designer Rick Heinrichs wanted Zero to embody the film's central tension, a creature trying to serve two incompatible holidays simultaneously. The pumpkin nose glows orange instead of red, a warm light that reads as festive until you realize it's explicitly a Halloween symbol repurposed for Christmas duty. And unlike Jack, Zero never struggles with his identity, he simply exists as both things at once without conflict. The design suggests that hybridity was always possible, Jack just approached it wrong. Number 10. Dr. Finkelstein parodies his own animator. The wheelchair-bound scientist was visually modeled after Disney veteran Mark Davis, legendary animator known for his hunched posture and precise, meticulous hand movements. The character design team studied video footage of Davis working at his animation desk, translating his physical mannerisms into Finkelstein's exaggerated gestures and obsessive tinkering. It was an affectionate inside joke, a tribute disguised as caricature that only the animation team would recognize. Davis himself never publicly acknowledged the homage, but crew members confirmed he saw the resemblance and appreciated the odd honor. The parody operates on multiple levels, honoring a master animator while also commenting on the obsessive, controlling nature of the animation process. Finkelstein creates life through manipulation and control, just like the animators moving puppets frame by frame. Number 11. Oogie Boogie's dice always land wrong. Whenever Oogie rolls his oversized dice, they land in his favor because they're rigged with extra dots and weighted interiors. When Santa grabs the same dice later and rolls them, they land correctly, exposing Oogie as a cheat who relies on deception rather than luck. The animators coded this detail into every dice shot, ensuring Oogie's rolls showed impossible combinations while Santa's followed real probability. It's a subtle character revelation delivered entirely through prop behavior, no dialogue required, the dice never lie twice. Ken Page's vocal performance sells the confidence of a cheater who knows the game is fixed, a villain who can't win honestly even in games of pure chance. And Santa's ability to roll true randomness suggests moral purity resets probability itself, goodness restoring order to a corrupted system. Number 12. Lock, Shock, and Barrel each represent a holiday sin. Lock embodies mischief, the prankster spirit of Halloween distilled into pure chaotic energy. Shock represents temptation, witchcraft, and forbidden magic that lures others into darkness. Barrel personifies gluttony, the candy-devouring monster child who consumes without restraint. They're the anti-elves of Halloween Town, a twisted inversion of Santa's workshop helpers. Writer Caroline Thompson designed them as corrupted versions of Christmas archetypes, showing what happens when holiday helpers serve darkness instead of light. Lock locks others into bad decisions. Shock delivers unwanted surprises. Barrel devours everything in his path. Together, they form an unholy trinity of Halloween values, proving that not all helpers serve benevolent purposes. Their constant betrayals and shifting loyalties reflect their fundamental nature as embodiments of vice, creatures incapable of genuine loyalty or selflessness. Number 13. Santa's coat foreshadows Jack's failure. When Jack eagerly tries on Santa's stolen coat, it immediately sags off his skeletal frame, sleeves dangling past his hands, shoulders drooping awkwardly. The coat wasn't built for him, and his body rejects it on contact. It's visual prophecy showing that Jack is stepping into a role he was never meant to fill, literally unable to wear the costume of Christmas. The animators exaggerated the poor fit deliberately, making the coat look absurdly oversized despite Jack and Santa being roughly the same height. Jack doesn't notice the wrongness because he's too intoxicated by the fantasy, but the audience sees it clearly. The coat becomes a wearable omen, every scene showing Jack swimming in fabric that refuses to conform to his shape, a constant reminder that he's playing dress up in someone else's life. Number 14. Sally's vision uses hyper-specific symbols. When Sally experiences her prophetic vision of disaster, the Christmas tree bursting into flames wasn't just metaphorical horror, it referenced a real 1990s public safety campaign warning families about fire hazards from dried out trees and faulty lights. Director Henry Selick deliberately chose imagery that would resonate with contemporary audiences on a subconscious level, tapping into actual cultural anxieties. Production designer Dean Taylor researched fire safety PSAs to create the burning tree with double meaning, narrative foreshadowing, and real-world safety reminder, blending Sally's supernatural intuition with practical domestic fear. The vision operates as both plot device and cultural commentary, Sally seeing not just Jack's failure, but a literalization of how dangerous mixing incompatible elements can be. Most viewers registered the image as generic disaster symbolism, missing the specific reference to a nationwide safety conversation happening during the film's production. Number 15. Oogie Boogie's interior is a real gambling den. His lair directly recreates the aesthetic of old Las Vegas casinos. Oversized dice, roulette wheels, neon spiderwebs glowing like vintage signage. Art director Dean Taylor studied photographs of 1950s gambling halls, translating their garish hypnotic decor into Oogie's underground domain. The villain isn't just a monster, he's a walking embodiment of vice and temptation, a creature literally made from humanity's darkest gambling addictions. The house always wins. The neon aesthetic clashes deliberately with Halloween Town's organic decay, showing that Oogie represents a different kind of darkness, one rooted in human corruption rather than supernatural monstrosity. He's the only villain in the film tied explicitly to real-world vice, making him scarier than ghosts or ghouls because his evil is recognizably human. Number 16. Jack's final line was changed at the last minute. Jack originally ended the film with a melancholic reflection about still feeling empty despite his adventure, a downer conclusion emphasizing existential dissatisfaction. Test audiences hated it, wanting hope instead of lingering dread. So in the final weeks of production, animators scrambled to create an entirely new ending shot, Jack and Sally embracing on Spiral Hill, silhouetted against the moon. The embrace wasn't part of the original storyboards, it was a last-minute addition born from audience demand for emotional resolution. Composer Danny Elfman quickly wrote the finale reprise to accompany the new footage, stitching together melodies from earlier songs into a romantic conclusion. The final shot became iconic precisely because it wasn't planned, a happy accident forced into existence by audience rejection of darkness. Nearly 30 years later, The Nightmare Before Christmas still stands as one of the most meticulously crafted stop-motion films ever made, a movie where every gravestone, every stitch, every rigged die hides meaning, the doors that map emotional avoidance, the coats that don't fit, and the dice that always lie. Henry Selick and Tim Burton didn't just make a holiday musical, they made a gothic thesis on identity, coded frame by frame, because in Nightmare, nothing is random, everything is stitched with intention, and the truth was always there, you just had to look closer.